Welcome to Magnet Marketers, our weekly live show where we break down the head, heart, and hand approach to building sustainable growth in your business. During each episode, we share actual client marketing best practice examples, strategies, and tactics that will help you generate real results. Our belief? A magnet always works better than being a bullhorn to attract, retain, and build your brand. Ready to dive into this week's Relationship Marketing Training Tuesday? Well, let's get started. Here's your host, Mike Gingerich and Jessika Phillips. Oh my goodness. Yay, yay, yay. I meant to bring like some party horns or something because this week... Streamers, right? Like a band, I don't know, something big because I'm excited, you guys. This week marks 1 week countdown to Social Media Week Lima 2021. Woo! And we are going to be giving you a sneak peek of some of the talks and some of the amazing talent that's going to be coming to the event and sharing why they want to share this message, like what's important for people to know right now. So it's going to be an extended episode. So I hope you stick around with us for the live. Of course, if you're watching the replay, you're going to want to check out every one of the people that we are having on in 15-minute segments because it's going to go fast and there's going to be a lot of knowledge bombs dropped. But before we dive in to all the nitty-gritty goodness, if we've not met before, hello, my name is Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System, where my goal is to help you love more, give more, and be more through the art of authentic relating so you can grow that repeat referral business. And my awesome co-host, he's Mike. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, doing well. Good to be here today.
So good to have you as always. And he's not only just an awesome co-host, he's the president of a web development and software firm called Digital Hill Multimedia. He's a published author 5 times over, probably going to be updating that soon to even more books, but he's a triathlete runner, biker, and leading business blogger at MikeGingerich.com, and also a speaker at Social Media Week Lima 2021. Yay.
Yep. I just had somebody come visit me. Look at this. This guy just came and wanted to say hi. There he is. This is Cash.
Dogs, Cash. Oh, I love it. Named after like Johnny Cash or just
Dinero.
We in business.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I don't know. My kids came up with a name for that. So yeah, there he is. So.
I love it. So speaking of dinero, though, you are going to be talking at Social Media Week Lima, and Mike, you are bringing a lineup of some students on for your talk. So I want to dive into some of the nuggets of what you want to get into and what you can expect, because these students are going to be sharing where they want to spend their dinero, their cash, and
That's
what
right.
influences that decision. So why don't you share a little bit more about what you'll be sharing at Social Media Week Lima?
Yeah. Super excited about this because the event's on the campus of UNOH, and so we're bringing in some students from the university there, and I'm going to be interviewing them about how they interact on the web, on social today, and particularly, like how they're spending money, that type of thing. So I think it's gonna be eye-opening for businesses. This is the leading edge, right? This is they're early adopter, young adults, and they're maybe diving deeper into some apps than you might be aware of, maybe some that you're not aware of, and then they're also maybe using them a little differently than what we may on a daily basis, that type of thing. So we're going to be finding out what's popular with them, what they like to do, how they actually do some shopping.
Unfiltered conversations, people.
Yeah.
And that's the theme of the event. So the theme of the event, if you've not heard it already, and thank you so much for all the people already here watching with us live. Mike Alton, I can't wait to see you soon too. And Stuart, so glad to see you. You're tuning in from Scotland. Looks like you got some scotch while you're tuning in. So love that as well. Good to see you, Juan and Julia and Jen and everyone here. Definitely let us know where you're watching in from and if you're coming to the event. But this event is all about getting unfiltered, those conversations that we just need to share and open up about, the good, the bad, the ugly, like all the things. But really what unfiltered means, and that's going to be part of my opening keynote, is how to survive in a dark social world. And dark social, again, a lot different than the dark web. But what it means is that we are craving this intimate experience with for realness. And a lot of our conversations are migrating to the inbox, into Messenger, into stories, into, Twitter Spaces, into Clubhouse, into things where we're gravitating to a smaller, more niche community to have these conversations about how we're really feeling about things. We're sharing about our experiences with brands. We're talking about it in text messaging and conversations in an inbox place that is really hard for brands to measure sentiment. But sentiment is the name of the game right now. Sentiment is how Google's starting to rank people. Sentiment is how the algorithms work. And what I mean by that is how Google is now ranking websites with the Google Page Experience Update, the Core Vitals Update, is all about not only just how much keywords and all that you have, it's moved beyond that now to say, how are people experiencing your website? Are they visiting it? Are they enjoying the content so they're staying longer? Are they sharing it with others? Are they coming back? Are they talking about you online? Are they leaving reviews? What is the sentiment? So these algorithms are growing and they're a lot smarter now, and they're measuring sentiment and how you should be displayed, rightfully so, unfiltered, ungamified, as in can't trick the system anymore, based upon what people are experiencing, that verb, how you're making people feel about your brand. So we're going to be uncovering that and unpacking that, because that's a lot to kind of take in on, usually there's like a set of rules, if you will. And like, if I do this, maybe this will happen if I get my keywords just right, and I can hire someone to do that, or I can, post here and get the engagement. But if you don't have the core right, starting from the inside out, if you don't have that thing that you can't pay for, community, that thing that you can't fake, the realness of the personality of the brand and how you show up to care for others, if you don't have that right, nothing else is going to be sustainable. It's going to fall short, and you're going to not be able to catch up in this next evolving world that's all going to be about co-creating with your community and really focused on experience and how you're making your team, your community, your clients, your current clients, and everyone else feel, because that's what you're going to be graded on by Google socials, as well as that's who people are going to be spending their dollars with, their cash with, as Mike said, and finding out what matters today and how people are evaluating that is going to be huge. So we're definitely a lot to unpack, but I'm super excited to do so, because these talks are geared toward one right after the other. So I'll be opening up, like I said, the day with Unfiltered, what it means, kind of setting the stage for getting our mindset on what should we be thinking about then, instead of thinking how many tools can I show up on and all these new shiny ones that I should be investing time in. Instead of thinking about going wide, we're going to be thinking about how do we go deep and grow some roots so I really can build this brand that has substance and feeling behind it. And it's not just all woo-woo, even though definitely has a lot of that element in it with me, but it's going to be the truth of seriously what's going to matter with brands today.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. And also, I like the way that you mentioned it here, but just to reiterate again, how it's kind of the order of events is kind of stacked that way. So you're providing that overview, and then we're hitting key points that that tackle different angles of that, what's happening, what's working, what's happening on that platform, that type of thing. So it all kind of flows together. So really looking forward to that. And so it's much more so than, should I be on TikTok, or that type of thing. And basically kind of learning that how that's going, and what's happening with community building on that platform, what that means, and what happens in the DMs that like you said, many times you're not seeing. And it is amazing that Google is quantifying experience on a website, so that so that's, it's not just kind of fluff. Oh yeah, I think that looks, feels good, that type of thing. But they've quantified that, measured it to impact, kind of where you fall in the ranks.
Yeah. So it does start from the inside out. So some of the talks on day one are going to be about that. Like, how do you work with culture. How do you share your story so people do know what it is that you're about and you're attracting the right people to your business? So, Julia is going to be sharing on that, on adding humanity into your brand. If you really have to kind of stop and pause and say, how do we get back to those basics to really kind of set the tone there? We're going to be talking a lot about story sharing and crafting your story. What the creator community looks like when you're collaborating and co-creating with your community. Brian Fans is going to be sharing on that. And then we're going to be talking with Craig Stevenson on how to fire the clients that you shouldn't be working with and really attract just the right ones that you do want to grow with and that are going to be sharing that positive experience on. How to find the stories in your business to share those out, creating that content. And some of the things that are really foundational that on day one is what's going to be shared, the foundational elements that are all about your technique. Because as you just mentioned, and as we talked about, the tools, yes, are we going to have some how-tos on things like Facebook ads and SEO and, groups and using audio? Absolutely. But until you get the technique right, none of the tools are going to matter. The tools are going to change again and again and again. But as long as you know how to approach them and take that mindset with you, then you'll know, where do I invest my time? How do I approach this? And what's going to be the best use of this tool to truly build community with my clients and future clients and team even that I want to build it with? Because I don't know what it's like for you and your clients right now, Mike, but I know for us here locally that, and even our clients that aren't local, hiring is a huge thing right now. And they are struggling to find team members that will join their business. And that's huge, right? If you can create this environment to where people want to be a part of it, even starting with the team member aspect.
Yeah, there you go.
That's really going to be a huge edge, because this scarcity, like, I don't believe in scarcity mindset, but there is a challenge right now for many brands on just finding people to hire so they can even operate their business. And that's challenging.
Yes. And the challenges are not going away. They're changing, and they're right in front of us. And I like what you just said there, just because this is more than just kind of really, it's more than just social media. I mean, this is operating a business in the current milieu, so to speak.
Yeah. So a lot of it's going to be about sharing those stories about your brand. And I'm excited, actually, our very first guest that we're going to bring on. And
Yes.
Chad, if you are ready, we're going to bring you on because he's going to be sharing a lot about stories and apples and dads. I don't know. What's this about, Chad? Welcome, Chad. How are you?
How are you guys?
Doing well. Chad, good to have you here. Let me give the quick intro on you, and then I'm gonna pop into my first question that everybody wants to know. Okay, so and this is great. This is well thought out. Okay, this is the introduction. Following a hardcore snipe hunt, botched pizza robbery, 2 years in a bear suit, and several moments atop a 6-foot unicycle, Chad, the story catcher, discovered the compelling power of stories. Today, Chad helps you find and craft your stories, evoking emotional responses, resulting in higher customer trust, conversion, and retention. Welcome, Chad.
How are you doing?
And the first question the audience has is, how do you say your last name?
It's Illa-Peterson. So my wife and I took each other's last names. That's why it's hyphenated. She was Illa, I was Peterson.
There we go.
You had your name on Facebook for the longest time as Lady Lena's Man. So I really thought that was like your last name for the longest time, first of all. Second of all, I always have to mute myself when people do your intro because I'm going to start cracking up. But I made the mistake of like taking a drink during that time too. So a lot of stuff was happening here. So I'm glad it didn't end up messy. But Chad, you are hilarious. And you're always one for great story, just creativity. So much so. I would love to share what the title of your talk was going to be, or what is technically, and then what we had to change it to so people knew what the heck we were talking about. But I love what you came up with.
Okay.
So what's the title? The real title.
The title is Dad Juggled Apples.
Dad Juggled Apples. Translated, for me and for you on the website, how to come up with stories that you didn't know that you had in your business. So people knew that we weren't juggling apples on stage, even though Chad is quite the performer, an artiste, if you will. But Chad, I'm so excited because is this the first time you've shared on a social media stage and presented, like conference-wise?
Second. I presented at Social Media Day Denver in 2019.
Awesome.
As we were rebranding and Storycatcher was going. And then I ran a room at the social media marketing world. So, shared a little bit, and then COVID hit and just, so I'm going to say yes, because it's like a rebirth. It's a new day. So yes, this is my first time.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't get to be your real first, but I'm excited to have you nonetheless, because I feel like you are like this hidden secret of creative juices and just good people, like you and your wife. By the way, Steven said, I have never seen a couple take each other's last names. Super cool. And George says, it's the Chad. Yeah, that's your name. Just should be Chad, like Prince, just like Chad. You are the Chad.
I like when people ask me how to pronounce it, because I very rarely get to say it, because it's the only time it gets brought up usually is if we're checking in somewhere. And I just, when they say, what's the last name? I just immediately just say Illa, because they're going to ask me anyway. So it's rare that I actually get to say it. So
there we go. Hey, Chad, what are you most excited about sharing in your talk? I'm not that you're going to spill the goods here, but just to whet the appetite a little bit, what do you feel like this is good? This is going to be a gem.
I probably a couple of different ways to rediscover stories that you didn't realize were stories. And then getting people comfortable with the unfiltered side of things, being willing to share something that they feel is not relevant or nobody cares, or it doesn't have to do with my business. Because at the end of the day, I tell people your stories, you're your unique selling point. It's not something crazy about your product. That in this world today, you're your USP. So we're going to kind of focus on that, I guess.
I love it. I'm so excited because honestly, when we've surveyed people, the most challenging thing that comes up again and again for brands is like, okay, we're set up on these social channels, but what do we share? That's part of it, right? Or they feel like they just can only talk about the brand from like, here's what we're doing, or, and talk about it as like just their brand name and what the wares are or the what's that they're selling, instead of thinking about things as story. Because what that does then when they're sharing it, so the first struggle is what to talk about is what comes up. The second part is getting engagement. So they think it's the tool, right? Like, oh, I'm not sure. We don't get it really anything from Facebook. And then the first thing I do, or Twitter, or fill in the blank, right, on the social app. The first thing I do then is look at what kinds of content they're sharing. And I'm like, would you want to engage with that? Like in your friend, you're engaging with friends and you're seeing like celebrations of life and, changes in somebody's life, a new house, a new baby, a birthday, something they struggled with, somebody bought them lunch, right? Like it's all of these different things that are happening in someone's day that you can picture and almost like you were there. And then all of a sudden you just see something pop up that's just like a promotion or very unclear to what the heck they're even talking about. And of course, you're not going to engage with it. So I think reframing, though, the same types of content could work when you pack it into a story that is relatable, right? So I feel that's one of the techniques that once people get will really change their business for good, right? Because that's it. Like when you can just learn how to communicate on social for engagement, like you're talking to someone and not at someone.
Yeah.
It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
No, that's completely. I'll bring up and I'll give a little sneak peek, I guess. But one of the things we'll discuss at the conference is why the heck am I even at the conference? You know, I don't create a ton of, this is what I do, this is my product, this is my business, as much as I just share me, who I am and what's going on, and build relationships, which I know, you know, Jessika is kind of into a little bit, and I'm here, right? I'm going to be there. And so the power of just stories and the connections that stories create lead to opportunities. So that's we're going to kind of touch on that, and then how to find them. That's the biggest piece, is just how to find your stories, how to rediscover them, and also how to create stories that haven't existed yet. There's kind of ways to do that. And then we'll touch a little bit about the fact that there's even more power when you can get stories from your customers and from your employees, your team members. So those three things are kind of what we'll touch on, and I'll share some stories of mine that actually do relate to my business and who I am, but don't really talk a lot about my business. So I'll even be sharing at least one of the ones from my intro. I'll fill in some missing pieces for you.
There we go. No, I like particularly the concept of finding stories, and maybe think about what you mentioned, things that you weren't, you might even not even thought of, but hey, that's a story that I can share. I think I'm so often in the present or looking to the future that I haven't stopped to look back. I need my memory jogged, and there are things there. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's what Mike said. You know, people tell me all the time I don't have stories, and it's just because to you it's just life, and you think that what you're going through is what everybody else is going through, but your life and your moments, they're unique to you. But when they're crafted and shared with somebody, they actually will connect with them because they've maybe didn't experience the same thing, but they went through something similar. You just didn't think it was a big a deal, but it was.
And it says something about you. So I was just going to say, like, Mike, I know you share when you are biking, right? Or when you're doing a run or a race. Like, what does that have to do with website development or marketing? Nothing, but everything at the same time, because what you're sharing is a lot about who you are, and it says something about your character and allows me to relate to you on the type of individual that you are and how you're committing and how you're showing up. You share stories of your family, so I can paint a picture now and fill in these gaps of what it would be like to work with you. Now, of course, very privileged to be your friend, so I already know some of these things about you, but the outward display is like painting this picture of, this is what it would be like to work with someone. A brand can do the same thing when they're sharing the light on, or shedding the light on, their team members and celebrating them maybe for something that they had accomplished, or they're showing up to support something that's going on in the community. It paints that same type of picture, right? That gives you an idea of what it's like to work with you. And then when you back that up with being in the inbox, like you, Chad, you are the sweetest human ever. You and your wife, I adore you both. And you are one that will drop in the comments, or excuse me, in the inbox and say, like, thank you for whatever, fill in the blank, or, you know, you're doing a great job, and like such an encourager. And so not only are you doing things publicly, but you're also backing that up then in a way that's real in the inbox, that then lets people know that even if we're not communicating on a daily basis, or we're not even working together, it's not like I'm a client of yours or whatever. Well, actually, I am a client of yours now. I hired Chad to help with a live show that we're going to be rolling out. I'm super excited about and amazed by the work that he's done. Definitely, if anybody wants a creative live show, talk to Chad. He's the man for that. But even before that, you're jumping in the inbox and staying connected on this level that lets people know, hey, he's really got my back, right? Like, he's a good human being. And when brands can do that, because behind every brand are people that are running that brand. And when your people can do that, and it's ingrained in the culture that, yes, we want you to do this, we want you to take some time to make sure you're responding to things, that you're reaching out and telling people they're doing a good job, whether that's community, whether that's internal feedback to each other or to clients that you're working with, that backs up the story that you're sharing and the overall definition of what it's going to be like to work with you from an experience perspective. And that's what this whole thing is about. It's creating this relationship, this energy of, here's what it's going to feel like to work with us.
Good.
And here we're just sharing this in a way that's going to help you paint the picture ahead of time and visualize working with us, or be able to not visualize not working with us.
We all naturally as humans, we are drawn to and seek out things that are going to bring us joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a brand, with your stories, if you can find a way to share something that someone connects in a way that says, wow, you know what, that made me happy, that brought me joy. Like if somebody tells me they're big into saving the environment as a brand, I appreciate that. It's not a big focus for me. I'm not saying I'm like, hey, destroy the planet, but it's not something that just lights my fire and brings me joy, but somebody else it might. But you have to still direct it towards that individual and let them know that I'm not just saving the environment, I'm saving your environment. And it has to be personalized. That's the inbox messages thing, is it's not just platitudes. It's not just saying, and of course, my wife and I, we're big about prayer and those kinds of things, but our feeling on prayer is we tell people, hey, we're setting prayers, but what else can we do for you? Because if you're going to pray, be willing to be the answer to the prayer as well. And so that's why we do the things that we do and share the stories that we share, because maybe it will help somebody or make somebody comfortable with reaching out because they felt something and are going through something, and there's something we can do for them. So you gotta let some walls down, and you gotta figure some things out. Mike, with your biking, I'd love to sit down with you while we're at the conference, because it's awesome that you bike and you're doing all of these things, and that says a lot about your commitment and willing to compete and be in the race and finish. But I want to hear the story, not today, but at the conference, talk to you, is how did that happen? Why is the biking and running a big thing? How did you get there? And whatever it was that got you there, how did you get to that? And whatever it was that got you to that, how did you get to that? And we worked, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I've got 20 stories I've totally never even thought about.
Asking questions, that's how you know. That's how you know the story. And I heard this quote, I don't remember who said it, but it's so spot on. If you want to be the most interesting person, be the most interested. So be the most interested in asking questions, because that's the only way you'll know. Doing discoveries with clients ahead of time, that's what gives you the MO of, hey, here's what we can do for them. Asking questions afterward, asking questions of your team, getting to know them more. That's how you can get unfiltered, right, relationships, but also that authentic relating. Get past that surface level crap that is not roots deep, right? Again, we want to go deeper, not wider. And
I agree.
Yeah.
I think if I toot my own horn, that's maybe one of my superpowers, is that when I work with clients or individuals, is getting them comfortable with being uncomfortable, in front of a camera or just to me or whatever, and capturing moments on video by making you forget the camera's there and making you comfortable in the moment, and then making you comfortable with sharing and digging in and asking, answering questions. Well, why did that happen? Or why did you feel that way? And that's when you capture some.
You two are masters of this, honestly. Both Mike is too. Mike, I've always told him, I'm just flighty, kind of all excited, the little kind of chihuahua sometimes talking. And Mike will come up with the best questions. And I'm like, how do you do it? He's very good at that. Both of you guys are really good at that. Julia says her talk will touch on this subject a little bit too. So I'm excited with both.
Yes.
We'll have to adjust. She speaks before me, but that's okay.
Your wife and George are fighting over you in the comments. So we know that we asked for 15 minutes. So you'll have to solve that and be referee. But both of them are saying that you're there, Chad. So I'll let you deal with that.
Yes.
Thanks.
Looking forward to it, Chad. Looking forward to it. Excellent.
Me too.
Absolutely. If you want to hear Chad's talk, definitely hop on over to sociallima.com. Make sure you're signed up for the ticket. I'm telling you guys, you're getting a sneak peek of these amazing people that are just
interrupt. I also have a table talk the next day, so we can come hang out and work on your stories.
Yes,
Ooh,
that
there it
too.
is.
But
Sold.
wait, there's more.
Get at least 2 tables. The number just doubled there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Chad. I'll let you handle that argument in the comments there on whose Chad are you. So
it's pretty clear cut, but okay.
Yeah. I think
You need to bring the ice bucket challenge directly to George. I'm thinking. I don't know. Just
yeah.
All right.
Bye, Chad.
See you guys.
Good to have you here. Take care.
Next up, we have 2 lovely ladies in the house.
Hello.
Hello, ladies.
3 lovely ladies.
Oh yes, there it is.
Oh,
Wait.
Clink.
Hold on. Oh, other side. Hold on, you gotta hold it there. There we go. There we
Yes,
go.
there we go.
Yeah.
We're professionals.
Oh, George says, "What's up, grits?" Yes, what a squad right now, Julia says, for sure. So we have Christine Gritmon and Jen Cole in the house. Whoop, whoop. And Christine is wearing the Craveable shirt from 2019.
I sure am.
Yes. I love it. So you ladies are speaking on a panel on day 1. So Christine, I'll let you kind of hit it off with what is your talk all about?
Sure. So we are going to be talking about trust and about what that means, how to get it, why it matters, all that jazz. And I'm very excited to be actively friends with all the people who I'm talking about this with. I trust all of them. That is the beautiful Ms. Jen Cole and Troy Sandidge and Jeff Howell. And it's just going to be a love fest up there, but it's also hopefully going to be, well, not hopefully, it's definitely going to be really informative and helpful to people in terms of understanding why trust matters and how to make sure that you gain it and earn it and keep it.
Good. That's a massive topic right there, but you're gonna break it down, right?
Oh yeah. Yay, Troy!
I know Troy's here. He's like, Trust Fest. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go squad. #trust. I'm already feeling the love fest. Like my face is already hurting from smiling so much and like overflowing with just joy from excitement of one, having you guys here right now, but also being able to see you in real life next week. So I'm so excited for that. And we've been hitting on a couple things already, kind of breaking this down of, okay, we need to get real, unfiltered, right? And then how do we show up in a way that's crafting that story, but also that you can't fake it, you can't buy community. So it does boil down to trust and being able to know that you're not just one way here, but another way over here. And Jen, I know you are big on showing up with the real and sharing stories from your life. Why do you think this talk is important for today?
I feel like it's important for everyone because honestly, like you said, my big thing is building community, and you cannot build a true committed, tight-knit community without trusting each other. I mean, it's one of the things that we learned in church camp way back in the day. We had trust initiatives. That's how you learn to deeply connect with the people around you. That's how you know that you can depend on them and they can depend on you. And that's a big thing about doing business with other people, is knowing that you can depend on the people that you are surrounding yourself with.
I just had a vision of like the trust fall off the stage. I don't know.
Let's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I trust you.
I
do.
All right, what's Troy saying?
Trust
Christine
gold.
and Jen will be carrying the team to trust gold.
We'll all be carrying the team to trust gold. It takes all 4 of us. It's like light as a feather, stiff as a board. If we want to elevate, we got to all do it together.
I love it. No, but that's so spot on because Jen, first of all, you've done an amazing job in running the Social Media Week Lima community, the Facebook group. I first have to give you huge props for that. This was the first year, and I had to trust you a lot to pass that torch over to you because I really love, and I do trust you, of course, hands down, and I adore you to death. But and Julia, trust Julia 100% as well, trust and say like, I can do a lot better showing up when I have people in the corner that really believe the same things and really understand our core values as an organization of we do what's right, not what's easy, and that we are a relationship first business, and that's what matters. And that our one rule is like, use good judgment and do good by people. And you guys you believe that, you know it. So you taking on and running that Social Media Week Lima group, like at first, when you first started, it was okay, a little bit less crickets a little bit when you're first getting in there, but kept on. You started with a couple people that already knew you a little bit and sharing some of the lives behind the brand, series that we've been doing to introduce the brands to each other, because the magic happens before and after an event and during, of course, but really before, to get to know each other on a real level. So we did this behind the brand series. You're introducing these brands to their peers that are going to be at this event. And it started, I don't know if you've seen this as much as like me now observing from, the outsider looking in now without being in it every day. But as soon as you started those, then more people started participating, then more and more. And now you're doing 2 live streams a week versus reaching out to people, because now everybody is building this trust with you and they know it's a safe place. You're shining the light on them. You are there to support them and make them great. And you continue to show up, that consistency of like your heart, and how you show up. So that's a lesson in building trust, of not waiting, right? Like, or being patient, but at the same time, consistent, with how you show up.
Right.
I love that you're highlighting attendees in that too. I think that that's one of the really big things about Social Media Week Lima. It's not about like, there's VIPs on stage and then there's like the attendees. We are all a community there together, experiencing something together. And I think that that's just such a theme of this event always, because of course it is, because it's run by you, Jess. How could it be anything but relationship oriented?
And that's important though for every brand now. Oh, sorry, Jen, go ahead.
I was just saying, you have a heart of gold. Like, you literally do. I don't know who I was saying this to the other day, but oh my God, if anybody embodies gold, it is you.
Aww. Oh, I need like an emoji for that right now. You guys are so sweet. No, but seriously, that's what it is about. And I've said this before, this event is not about a moneymaker. It's not a moneymaker for us at all. But what keeps it going is stories like, and anybody that's not in our Social Media Week Lima group, I highly encourage you to jump over there, even if you don't have a ticket, because I just think it's a love fest right now too. But I think you'll get a lot of value out of it, because there's stories like Jenna that behind Beyond Laser Creation, and she's our swag bag partner this year. Amazing woman. She attended Social Media Week Lima 2019, and she's sharing the story of how she attended the event, Craveable, like the shirt that Christine's wearing, where we talk about how to create that irresistible brand, because there's always a theme each year. And we talked about what that looks like and how it, how to create something of value that people want more of, right? They want to keep coming back. And so she wrote down all these lessons, and she said then when 2020 hit, her business, she was a photographer at the time, kind of went kaput a little bit, but it inspired her to start something that she really, truly cared about. And she used what she learned at that event to launch, maintain, and really grow her brand, where now she just won this entrepreneur award and dollars from that to help her business continue to grow. She's giving back already with, hey, I want to sponsor this event now and give back for what you guys did for me. And just this bright light. And I feel like those are the stories that I want really the event to be about. I said to somebody else the other day, I'm like, I want Lima to be synonymous with like love, right? Like, yes, I really, truly feel that we are all in this together. And the only way to truly grow our brands as small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and it doesn't matter, whatever business you are, solopreneur, B2B, B2C, it does not matter. When you can learn from others, you can collaborate and come together as community, truly you have all that you need then to show up and build a sustainable and growing brand that feels good. It can feel good too. You can really have the best of both worlds. You really can, I swear. But it does start with getting real, getting unfiltered, establishing trust, right? And consistency in how you show up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Thank you for sharing your hashtag.
So you guys have been there before. What what's a word of advice to someone new who's coming as they're getting ready to come in? What do you recommend to them?
Talk to everyone. Just talk to everyone. Keep track of who you talk to. Actually exchange information. That's part of why I take so many selfies at conferences, honestly, and then post them, because then I've tagged the person. And so I remember, oh, that's that person, and we're connected now. So really do talk to people and keep those connections going. Relationships that I built at Social Media Week Lima 2019 are still going strong and have strengthened over the past 2 years. So that's a big one.
I love seeing that. I love seeing that, especially when I see like people from Lima and they're commenting like on my friends from like California and wherever you're at, location. I'm like, I love this. It's like bringing people together. And then it's, when you do come back together at this event, then it feels like home. And don't be afraid if you've not been to the event before, because I promise you, if you get active in the group now, one, that's really going to make a huge difference too, because you're going to already feel comfortable, especially if you're an introvert, because you'll know someone there. And I've already heard people talking. I was at an event, the chamber breakfast the other day, and I heard them talking. They're like, do you want to sit together? And it was the cutest thing ever. But also when you get there, I promise you, the people that we invite and the people that we're attracting are like each other. They truly do care. And I would not invite a speaker or anyone else that doesn't care about you and your business. So if you don't know someone, find someone that with a Now shirt on that will be there. Find one of the speakers, because I promise you, they're going to help you get connected to someone that like you, that will really help you. But everyone's there to cheer each other on and make sure it's the best experience possible for you.
There's no barrier between speakers and attendees in that regard. So like, go talk to the speakers, because you're right, they will introduce you to people. And the concept of a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. Everyone at Social Media Week Lima, more than any other event I've been to, is definitely just a friend you haven't met yet.
I love that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Jen, anything to add for someone who's looking at coming?
I really feel like Jessika hit it. She said exactly what I was going to say. The best way to be comfortable when you walk into a room of people that you don't necessarily know yet is to get engaged with the group. Find us on Twitter, find us on Instagram, join the conversations, post a video, post just a picture. George, get a neck stand.
Get a neck stand. That's great.
That's a conversation starter. That's a great thing to have.
But yeah, like just get in conversations, and then you'll have friends before you even get out there. And we've talked about how to recognize each other. What is your signature thing that you wear, so that when we walk into the room, we can say, Jamie Samples, I know her because she wears a cowboy hat. Let's look for Shannon Loy, because she's going to be wearing the poop emoji hat. Like, people are saying what they're going to wear, and it's very important. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to get in on that and kind of a little bit of planning together. Even it's already starting to feel like, okay, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, and that is so much fun.
And one of my favorite questions to ask is like, and I know we're almost at time here, but is like, what's your superpower? What's your kryptonite? And so we've asked people to like post in the group and do intro videos too, because that's a really big conversation starter too. Or what's like a secret talent that nobody knows that you have. Like I shared that like when I was younger, my dream was to be in a Janet Jackson dance video, right? Like that was my goal. I was wanting to be in those videos.
It's not too late.
So it's like a fun conversation starter. We learned about person at Social Media Week Lima 2019 that she was into collecting like Coca-Cola memorabilia. It's like those things you will remember. You won't remember like the company and all that crap, but you will remember what they're into and what they're about. And it's a good way of then coming up and being like, oh, I love that you like Coca-Cola, or that the poop emoji, or whatever it is. Those kinds of things are beyond the surface level. So it is something that will help you authentically relate with someone else.
Yeah, you just gave me goosebumps, like chills.
I love it. Well,
you had me at poop emoji.
Ladies, with that,
you had me at poop emoji.
energy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Christine, you are vibrant as always, and you always have that red signature lipstick on and the red brand background. And if you guys want to know a thing or two about branding, Christine is your gal. She talks a lot about that. Jen is going to be talking on community there as well, and table talks that we have going on day 2 at Social Media Week Lima. Again, if you don't have your ticket,
talking about brand.
sociallima.com. What's that?
I'll be talking about brand.
Talking about brand. That's right. That's right. All right, ladies, you are amazing. I cannot wait to see you next week and take a selfie and get a neck stand and all the things next week. All right.
Thank
see
you,
later.
ladies, for bringing the energy.
Bye, guys.
All right, next up, it's one of the people I'm a fangirl over. And Mike, you didn't get to meet her yet, but Candice Denise. Woo!
Hey guys. Hey Mike. Hey Jessica.
My goodness.
I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I just adore you so much. I always talk about like, okay, I'm a Candice fangirl now after our talk that we had on Magnet Marketers. This was a little over a month ago.
Yeah.
This point. But I loved it so much. I was like, I have to have you come to Social Media Week Lima. You drop such truth and such just good energy that I would love for you to share with the community here what you're going to be sharing at Social Media Week Lima.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for then and now and next week. So past, present, and future. I'm excited to be a part of this amazing, amazing conference. And I'm going to be talking about how to forward momentum, how to keep that creative flow going, because, you know, finding your creative process and what that's like, because we all understand that that's not something, at least for me, that we just wake up and it happens every day, all day. And, you know, people just think that you're always in creative mode and, you know, you've always got it all figured out, and you don't. You know, we go through ebbs and flows like anyone else. It's almost like writers, they have writer's block. And so, you know, the same thing happens for us. And how do we fuel that? How do we figure out what works for us? Because a lot of times we try to adopt someone else's creative flow, and it doesn't necessarily work for us. And so it's really about how do you find your own rhythm and routine when it comes to your process of creativity.
I like it. I like it. Yes. I think that right what you said there at the end, just that so many of us will, you know, we want to say, okay, what do you do? And then we try to replicate that and it kind of falls flat. Yeah. So good.
Absolutely. I think it's important for, you know, us to understand that. And especially because in this social media space, this digital space or spaces now, so many people are coming online. I think that, you know, before we thought that there were a lot. Now, you know, since the pandemic, there's so many more people who are here. And I think it can be a bit overwhelming. And, you know, the reality is we're human, and we are also navigating business, personal, professional, all these different things. And so we've got a lot of noise happening in our heads. And sometimes that can take away from the creative flow. And how do you do that? So it you know, it's natural to just say, I saw someone else do this, I think I'm going to try it. But doing that can frustrate us, or it can start that whole negative self-talk or self-sabotage. And we think that we're not good enough, or we don't have what it takes. And it's like, no, you are good enough to have what it takes. It's just that you're trying to use what someone else has to make what you have work. So
preach.
Important.
Preach it. Oh my gosh, you said so many good things there. One, it's like when people feel like they have to get in the flow, they're like, okay, how do I do it? How do I do it? You know, like what's the steps? Like Mike, you said it too, where it's like they want the formula, and so many times where you're giving it to it, it's like, okay, then if you're just copying, as you just said, Candice, like there's so many people out there. We like to say you're amongst a sea of samesies, and it doesn't matter what you do. Like what you do is not unique at all. You know, like your business, there's somebody else that does what you do. But it's like the how you do it, your own signature is what makes the difference. The how you're showing up. So, and I love this quote. I say it a lot, but I really need to look up who originally said it because I don't know. But it's like, you're not reinventing ice cream. You're creating your own flavor to it. So it's like taking those elements of things that you know you should do, but you have to add your own flavor to it. So I love that you share and are going to share kind of that creative process, because all of us have been at a time, especially more so in the past year, where we're not feeling it. Our worlds got turned upside down. And it's like, how do you continue to create when creating is a the essence of you, because we just said how you do it when you're not feeling it, right?
Yeah.
When you're not really, it's not all sunshine and Instagram photos, right? Like, what do you do?
Yeah,
You know?
that's so true. It's not all sunshine and Instagram photos, and I mean, we had to deal with some heavy things, and still so, and very much still so, right? I'm not even going to say that we're not. And so, like you said, how do you find that that spot between the two, like between not giving so much to the fact, and also giving yourself a little grace here, right? Because then there's that. It's like, don't feel like you have to have it all, even if it's like, okay, I've got enough creativity to get me through at least the rest of this week. If that's where you are, appreciate that too. I think sometimes we put these huge milestones on ourselves that we feel like we have to hit these markers, and it's like because you saw someone else, or like maybe it's creating a content calendar, and you're like, well, I saw someone else build out theirs for 3 months worth, and I've only got a week's worth of content, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but who knows if, and I'm not taking away, but maybe their 3 months, is their 3 months fully value content, or is it just padded, fluff? I would rather you have quality over quantity any day. So it's a matter of, you've got a week's worth of value packed content that is hitting every mark. It's marketing to your ideal person. It's impacting them. It's connecting with them. It's relatable. Then you are spot on versus someone who's got 3 months of, just saying they did it. They hit, they checked the boxes off the list, but it's not serving anyone. It may be selling to them, but it's not necessarily serving them. So I think,
oh my God, I feel like this could be so much value in your talk. Tara just said, trying to get out of a creative drought for me is so hard. I can't wait to hear the talk. Me too, Tara. I'll tell you, like, and anyone who wants to try this before the event too, and before you hear this talk, if you make sure your posts like match up, business or personal brand, match up for like what you're feeling that day and tie it in, I promise you, there's going to be a huge shift. Like Julia on my team, she helps me with, maintaining the calendar and making sure things get posted and all that. But she knows, like we've talked about it, like, I don't care what's scheduled. If there's something that's going on right now that I'm like experiencing right now, and it allows me to be real and connect with someone, I'd rather share that and get in that moment. And those have been the most successful ones that, where you just are unfiltered, like the, theme of the event, and get past that and not beat yourself up. Because there's also some days where I'm like, pause it. Let's pause it all. We don't have to keep talking right now. We can engage and still show up. We don't have to push out something when it's not feeling right.
Aligned. When it doesn't align, if it does not align with where you are and who you are. I literally just had this conversation probably 2 hours ago with a fellow coach, and we were talking, and she was saying that she was about to do something, but she started feeling cringy about it because it wasn't aligning. She saw another coach do it, so she thought she was going to try it too. And when she went to implement it, she's like, I felt super cringy. And I said, it's not because what that other coach did was wrong. It was because what they did worked for them, and it didn't align for who you are. And so to your point, Jessika, that's what you're saying. Like, if it's not authentic, if it doesn't connect for you first, then basically are, tossing something out that's not going to matter your way. And it's going to miss the mark. It's going to miss people because it didn't start with, I feel like it has to minister to you before it does anyone else, right? It's got to speak to your heart or speak to who you are before it can do anything for anyone else. And, that's where we are. And people are wanting that. Like, people want genuine, they want authenticity, they want connection, heart to heart connection, right? They want people that they can feel like, I appreciate your business, but I appreciate you as a person. That's what people are buying into. You see it in big brands now, right? They're trying to get more humanized. They're trying to become more humanized because that's what we are. And if you feel like that's something that you don't think you should do, then you are missing the mark. You have to, you gotta be honest. And if the reality is, listen, I put a post up yesterday and I was like, I've been getting some leads that are not aligned with my business. And so I felt like it was important. I said, what is it that I really do? Like, let's talk about it because maybe I'm not clear. And so let me be as clear, but it was where I was. I had a whole nother post scheduled. But because I've been getting these leads and it was like, wait, what's going on? You know what? Scratch it. Wait, scratch it. This is what we're going to talk about.
I love that. Even McDonald's, Dan Gingiss, a friend of us, and he's an amazing creator and just speaker and just amazing with what he shares. And I know he was sharing in a newsletter today about like McDonald's now looking at like relationship marketing, how they're showing up that way. Bigger brands are paying attention because they know it works. And this is the only thing that works. Like I said, you can't fake community. You can't buy it. It's not for sale. People want real, and you don't own the brand anymore as an organization, except for how you show up, and then how that's distributed and interpreted is all going to be, distributed by the community at large. So if you're trying to be someone else in the show, Magnet Marketers, because I believe like we connect with the people that are going to align with us like a magnet, right? And to get them to stick with us versus a bullhorn of blasting our message out. It's going to be more sustainable and get more aligned, right? When things can connect with you longer. But if you're trying to use somebody else's content, right? I almost feel like it's putting kind of two magnets side by side. And if you've ever done that, then the stuff just freezes and it doesn't connect to either, because it's just two polar forces and it just pauses things. So I really feel that it is getting to be aligned with who you are, showing up with what you're going through right then, brand or not, brand, personal page, all the things. So when I say you, I mean you and all of you, right? Do it, because it doesn't matter anymore. People are looking at brands kind of the same way, wanting, as you said, that substance, that real, that still make me feel something. And bigger brands are even paying attention. So you as smaller brands have a huge opportunity right now to take the lead and to really get a one up on this, because you're more agile than larger corporations.
I love it. You absolutely are. And here's the other thing, and finding your creative flow, doesn't require a whole lot as much as we think sometimes. I think we think it has to be this big, major thing. And it literally is I promise you, there are creative sparks around you. You just pause and really pay attention, right? Literally something as simple as, you know what, I'm going to step away from this computer and I'm going to go take a walk in my neighborhood. Just that, because I am not distracted by anything visually. I'm not seeing anything, I'm not hearing anything. You left your cell phone there, you left the computer, so there's no other noise. And so you just go walk, and maybe you're hearing these birds, and then you see the wind is blowing and how the trees are kind of, the leaves, and then you see your neighbor walking their dog. And so it starts just these things start happening. You're like, walking the dog. I thought about that, because that would be a really good post when, sometimes you've got to step away and walk things out. It just starts opening you up. And so it doesn't always have to be this huge thing. Sometimes it's just how do we pause and pay attention to what we already have? We don't always have to even reinvent the wheel, we don't have to go on these huge excursions and adventures to find the creativity. It's you probably have it right in your backyard. You probably have it maybe in your kid's book bag, something, spark a thought. You may have walking the aisles of a Target. Literally.
Find your joy. That's where it comes from.
It's really that. It's that. It ties into your wellness, right? This kind of self-care thing that's when you're taking care of you, because that's what I often find when I'm in that drought. It's probably because I'm not taking care of me. There's something in me that's not being taken care of or paid enough attention to. And a lot of times it's my mental capacity. I'm probably just tapped out, right?
We've been taught to hustle harder if we want to do that. Hustle more, work harder. You're not getting it because you're not working harder, when the opposite is true. Now do you see why I love her, Mike? And I could talk to her all freaking day, fangirl. But I love that you mentioned something else too, Candice. And I just love your stuff. Everybody go follow Candice. She's amazing. But talking about self-care, we are going to have the Laughing Love Bugs, another couple that I freaking love to death. But talking about that too, and you have to get to that place. You have to, whether you're feeling it or not yet, there's some things that you can do to get you to that place that will help get you and remember what that joy feels like, and remember how to be able to tell if you're, are listening to yourself or not, because you can't outwork it. can't outwork and work harder to get to creativity. You can't get to that place by working harder. You have to actually get more aligned. And again, yes, it sounds woo-woo, but it's the truth. And we're going to help bring you there.
I'm so excited about it. Like, it's so true. It's so, I mean, all of this is right. I mean, you know, I think about, we have to kind of go back and remember our why.
Yes.
Why we started the business, why we decided to add these additional services or offers, or why we decided to market this way. Like, go back to your why. And I think sometimes, like you said, because we've adopted this hustle and grind culture, which I am completely against. Like, anyone asks me, I'm like, toss out the word hustle and grind, and you can give me ease and flow, because that's what I'm picking up these days. I want ease and flow. No more hustle and grinding.
That just feels good to say, right? Ease and flow. Oh my gosh.
It doesn't mean that every day is like, you know, just even keel, but it takes a level of pressure and stress and overwhelm, just being like, you know what? I saw this quote, and I've been saying it to everyone. It said, when you stop trying to be your best self and just try to be your favorite self, that it literally will help you in everything you do. And that is where I am. I'm like, let me just show up as my favorite self. And then what does my favorite self want to see out of myself that day, right? Even when it comes to my content, my creativity. And that means maybe my creativity is at a 5, maybe it's at an 8. But whatever that is, as long as it's at my favorite, that my, you know, whatever that is for me. And so I think it's just really important, just be more in tune with thyself, where you are. And we really do have to put those blinders on to not pay attention to everyone else. It's like driving a car. You have to look at your mirrors to see what other people are doing, because that's part of traffic. You gotta, you know, you navigating, exactly, Mike, navigating. But no one drives like this. Like, you don't stare, right? You glance, you pay attention to where you're going. It's the same concept. Like, glance at what other people are doing, but stay focused on where you're going, what it is that you're going to do.
Dang. Are you guys excited to hear her talk or what? Like, I know I am, and I can't believe our 15 minutes flew by so quickly. I could stay here forever with her. But Candice, thank you so much for showing up and sharing just your favorite self. We all love it. And I cannot wait to see you next week. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Look forward to meeting in person.
You as well. I'm looking forward to it. See you all soon.
All right. Bye-bye. Next up, just keeping this going, Troy. Whoop, whoop.
What's up, everybody?
Troy, man, good to see you. How you doing?
Good to see y'all faces. This is the closest I've gotten to y'all in a while. Like, hi. Hi, everyone watching the live and the replay. What's up?
I love it. I love it. I know your voice because we've hung out on Clubhouse and I've shared many times, like my favorite times on social media, just hanging out with you and Megan. Oh my God, like so good. My soul needed that during the pandemic, and I've loved it so much. You are one of the realest and one of my favorite humans ever. But I want to share what you are going to be bringing to Social Media Week Lima.
All right. Cue the intro music. Get hype. All right, we're going to talk about trust currency, how to build brand equity and customer loyalty. So we're going from the B's to the C's. What does that mean? Another acronym, holla. We got Christine with the branding. We got Jeff with the e-commerce. We got Jen with the community. And you got myself with the strategy. BECSB to the C's. So I don't know why y'all don't join our panel. Tune in. It's going to be dope. It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk about brand equity. And I think everyone wants to talk about, you know, the brand identity. Who am I? What am I? What's my niche or niche? However you want to enunciate those words. Who am my target audience? What's my community? All this fun stuff. And if you don't understand your brand equity, how much value do you have in the bank today? How many people are buying into that right now? We don't do enough checking of, hey, I'm doing all this work, Troy. I'm doing all this work, y'all. We're trying to figure this stuff out, Mike and Jessica. We're trying to figure stuff out. And it's like, are you getting enough value back? Am I getting enough money? The MONEY, the green back. Social is great. Creative, great. Marketing is great. Doing the work, scheduling the content, making great videos, doing on the live streams is all great. But you know what's great? Doing that while making money. And so you have to do understanding a reassessment of what my brand equity is in alignment with what I need to achieve. And if not, how do we do that? And I have the greatest panel ever. I said it. We great. We awesome. B's to the C's, y'all. And we're going to here to help you figure that out because it's all about trust, baby. Trust is literally COVID proof. What?
Ooh.
Oh my God. I just blew y'all mind. I blew my own mind, but I'm here. Trust is COVID proof. What do I mean by that? When things get tough and things get tight, I trust this person to see my business through this situation. I trust them that they'll benefit, they'll give me value with the money I'm giving them, or vice versa. Or at the very least, I trust them. I want them to stay in business. So if we have the trust of our customers, of our clients, of our network, our community, we can stay in business to give more impact. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And at the panel. So be there. Be there. Awesome.
Excellent. Excellent.
In the words of Jen, damn, what an intro.
No.
Right? Like, this place is not your average conference. We've said that a few times, and this is why. People like Troy coming there and sharing the real, but bringing the energy. It's not something you're going to get in a blog post or a YouTube video. Like, you can feel the energy. I'm hoping, like, even through this, like, they're coming with a message, like the truth, like, here's what you need to know. And Troy, like, I know your panel, which Christine and Jen, we just had on a little bit ago. And this is more than that though. So even though we have 30 minutes to share kind of that talk, we're going to be closing out day one with Q&A too. So after some of this kind of sets in, and you start thinking about it, like, what is the equity of my business, right? You're gonna have some time during the networking breaks to talk with others, but then at the end of the day, like, bringing up those questions, because hopefully by that time you're gonna realize, like, it's a safe zone. We can share, we can talk about like what we're going through, and we can get some answers because we all want each other to be successful. And like you just said, Troy, COVID proof, or whatever the next thing is, proof, right? Your best team member leaving proof, your whatever it is, your next growth proof, your biggest client leaving, whatever that is, like that proof, because you already have the community, the plan, the person that you are in check, that you can do anything, from there.
So true.
Love it.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
Trisha, what's up, girl?
The whole
She's
show
coming
would
to
make my
us
day today. Me too.
from the UK. All right. Yes.
So Troy, you've been to the conference now? This will be your second time?
Second time.
Okay. 2019 was your first. So what is your tips for anyone else coming to this event?
Ooh, okay, I got you guys. I'm gonna give y'all a little spin. I think don't treat it like a conference. Don't treat it like a summit. Treat it like an open-ended mastermind where you never know who's going to give you the insight and information you need to get you over the hump. And I'm going to get real vulnerable for a moment to show you the significance of this conference for me. I was a vice president of a multi-million-dollar agency. I had just made them over $10 million over the last quarter and a half, and I lost my job. And I had to get mentally prepared. I had to, lick my wounds and everything and go to the summit the following month. No one really knew, and I didn't know what to expect. And that was my first time. I was prepared. I was like, ooh, okay, I'm going to do a panel. Oh, it's going to be great. With the fans, it's about to be. Then that happened to me. And, many times in our business, we're talking about trust, y'all. It's hard to turn on that switch when you have so much emotional baggage or things on your mind. And put the picture of you, maybe you're trying to get more money. Maybe you're coming to the summit in a certain place that you weren't before. And maybe you don't want people to know, or you're trying to keep the persona alive. Whatever this group of people who will be there on stage, and those who are just there to support the community that Jessika and the company has assembled, is going to be there to help you. So what happened to me? I went there not knowing that I was going to have a whole new family of people to help me figure this stuff out. I'm still figuring out, but they've helped me figure this stuff out. And as a person of color, it was my first time of really being amplified for the value that I've been given, and not just as a token, not as just a person to fill a seat. And I want to make that very clear too for a lot of people who are people of color, who are trying to be on their own in business, or they're a leader at corporate America, or they're in their own agency or whatever, and they're coming to the event. It's so open-minded. It's so welcoming. And they're not paying me to say that. I just want to keep it real with you. So with that being said, Come in open-minded and be ready to receive.
There you go.
Be ready to listen. Be willing and open-minded to say, this is what I need to take away from it, and go get what's yours. There's enough people here who can give you what you need. You got to go get it.
Gotta go get it. There we go.
Oh, I need a minute now, Troy. You got me like all excited. Like but it is that. I love that you keep saying summit and not conference, because that's truly what I feel. Like, I know that after the event, like, I need a nap for like a week, because there's so much energy poured in to the event. And when I say energy, I mean like love and genuine care for each other by everyone. And I love that you said talk to people, because you don't know where it's going to come from, because it's not just the speakers. Like, attendees have shared and passed info between attendee to a speaker and gave them the next thing that they're going to need to amp their business up, and vice versa. You know, it doesn't matter, but we all come in with that same mindset. And I love hearing stories like that, Troy, and that is like super vulnerable to share. Like, if you're on stage or whatever the case may be, and you're like, hey, I'm coming in here as this presenter, as the expert leader, but you guys don't know, I just lost my job. Like, that could be really hard. And talk about, you know, trust. Like, it would take a lot for someone to say, and it did, you know, for you, like coming in and saying like, hey, this happened to me, but that's not who I am. And there's actually something that I wanted to, and I will be sharing, I'll kind of give a little bit away here, but I'm fascinated by this story in France of when people ask each other what they do. It's like, hey, Mike, what do? You would be sharing like, hey, I'm a runner. I'm an author. I love, you know, I have children, all that. Troy, I'd be asking you, what do you do? And you'd be sharing like, you know, your music, love of music, and the things that you do. And it's about the person and what you do, versus in America, we share, what do you do? And you're like, hey, I'm a marketer. I'm, you know, a president of an organization. Right. So what happens when you lose your job is you're like, who am I? Exactly. But if we take more of the mindset of what people are doing, like in France, like the reason I'm so like in all of this story is like, nobody can strip that from you. Right? Like, just because your titles change, because who you are is who you are. It's the things you're into. It's how you show up. It's your love. And it doesn't change by the title of your job. Right? Like, so we need to get back to that. And I think that'll help with everything, even as businesses, as we lose that big client or a team member or whatever. And we think that there's some shame that it takes away from who we are, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Nobody can take away that thing of who you are, because those things don't define you, you know?
So true, 100.
Jen says, all the snaps.
I picked this up from the COVID days of just, I can't clap. It makes too much noise, but I can snap.
Yeah. I think Mike got so excited he let himself go. He was like, I clap myself, snap myself out of there. Troy, I am so thankful that you again are coming back and showing up, and everyone should go check out, find Troy everywhere on the socials, because as much energy as he's bringing here, he brings all the time online. And I'm not telling you this, like some of my favorite times online have been with you hanging out in Clubhouse and just sharing the real, because I love the no BS approach to showing up.
Yes.
So thank you again, Troy. I hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. I cannot wait to see you next week.
Thanks,
see you next week. Hugs for everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, yeah.
Next up is Jim in the house.
Oh my
Jim.
gosh. I've got to follow Candice and Troy. I mean, wow. I'm just like,
right.
That was amazing. And I can't wait to see both of them in person next week. Less than a week, right? Or a week. It'll be a week.
I feel kind of selfish because I just bring in like all my favorite people together to come hang out with me, because like I just love you all so much. And like, can I just have like a friend stay and bring you in? But it's so much value to everyone else. And I know that you are doing a table talk, which is one of the most appreciated things that we've heard a lot of great feedback on. And what a table talk is, for those that may not know. So Social Media Week, we've talked about a lot of the talks that will be on. That's day one, like getting the essence of what we're trying to convey with Unfiltered. Day two is like the how-to, but we end the day with table talks, which is an intimate experience where it's like, 6 people to a table, and then we rotate. but you get to get one-on-one with an expert that's going to help answer those questions that maybe you're afraid to ask, or maybe just need a little guidance on. And that person's really going to dedicate their time to helping you get to that next level, and you get to meet them. So Jim, would you please share what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, it's going to talk about how you can become, build your community through live streaming. I mean, what a lot of people don't realize, I mean, first of all, my first time attending was 2 years ago, like Troy, and I'm humbled and honored to even be able to now share this with all these other folks, because I was in the audience 2 years ago. And so this just goes to show you that if you keep working at making yourself better, and as my friend Chris says, I don't know who I probably stole this from, but get better 1% every day, work harder. And so live streaming has done that for me. And whether it's the Tim and Jim show with my good friend Tim Sohn, I mean, we're going to be celebrating our 3rd anniversary of the show the week after Lima. In fact, we're going to have to go live at Lima. We haven't figured out when or where, but that'll be fun. So maybe we'll just have people come by that are there physically. And I think the last time I was at Lima, I had to do a show there. So it's
there's space.
Kind of fun. There's definitely the space there. But then the other thing is, like, even as you know, Jessika, being live on Amazon now, right? You're connecting with a community of people. They're trusting you, whether it's talking about products or bringing people on like you that are going to teach them. And so that's when I want to help people understand is that you need to be real, not just when you're live like we are right now, but you should be the same person even when you're off camera. And I think that for me has been one of the biggest things. And, and I know Angus is going to be there. I'm excited to see Angus. I worked with Angus last year, right before COVID. And in some ways it was probably very, fortunate, because what it did for me is, and you hit on this a little bit earlier, is there's so many marketing people. And that's what he kind of like jumped on me about. He's like, well, how are you different? And I had to really think about it. Brian Kramer as well in the H2H community. I'm a retired Marine. The Marine didn't go away when I retired. And so I do marketing the Marine Corps way. That's how I differentiate myself. And I like to bring that into even when I'm, talking with people. I'm not the goofy guy on camera. I do have a fun side to me, but I think sometimes, and that's where we're talking about like working on content. I'm actually doing Lita right now, which might be hard to believe, live every day in August with Luria's group, because I want to share more of my personal side, because I think sometimes we struggle with that. And so I think as a live streamer, those are some of the things that we'll talk about, like what can you do to build that trust to get people to want to just be a part of your community. It's not even looking to do anything specific.
Excellent. I think that's, we kind of heard this theme a little bit earlier, or maybe through this time period live today, where you touched on it when you said that, your Angus was helping you kind of reflect on, what makes you different. And, and even then Candice just recently here said, don't get stuck just looking at people and trying to implement what they do. But, she kind of said, what was that? Kind of like you're driving a car, you look at your mirror, you glance, you see what's around you, but you try to do your own thing. And that's just exactly what you said. So, love this kind of theme that's pulling together and, being reinforced. And, just like you said, this is my way. This is what I'm going to bring. And, really that's the message many businesses need to hear.
Yeah. And I love that you said, like, I'm doing it the Marine Corps way. Like, I don't have to be all fun and funny and all of that. Like, that's not authentic to maybe who you are. And I feel like people can tell the difference, between people that are phony and like really, if that's truly who you are, because I truly feel like we give off this energy. Like everybody was in the comments, when Troy was on, like, holy crap, his energy is fire, like that, right? Like, and with you, everybody's like, Jim, like they recognize you because they've met you in person, maybe, or just met you online and engaged with you. I know I've had the privilege of meeting you in person and online, and you were the same standout guy. And I feel like going back to Unfiltered, the theme, with dark social, people are communicating in the inbox. And if you aren't authentic and you were, you know, maybe not the best human outside when you're engaging with people, people are talking about that in the inbox. And they may not directly call you out online live, you know, but they're talking and they know it. And it's only a matter of time when you'll start seeing like engagement going down and all of that. And then people starting to call you out when it gets to that kind of, you know, tipping point. So you just have to own what you do and who you are and show up to do things the right way. And I love that you add your own personality to it, and that it doesn't have to be what you think it needs to be. It has to be who you are, right?
Yeah, and I would say that for me, for a little while, that was a struggle. And but by being open-minded and being willing to learn, right? I think that's the other important thing, that we all have to be open-minded. Things are going to change. I mean, as much as everybody has loved Clubhouse, right now it's got all these competitors. They talk about the number of people using it are down. Well, how are you going to shift into what's next? Or is audio really your space or your place? And do you want to be live on camera? But even just by doing short videos, and I know you do this too, Jessika, like, do a short video clip and send it to a friend in direct messaging on the dark, in the dark social. It just shows that you care, right? Not to steal your care thing, but I didn't mean to do that. But do you see how that worked?
Yes.
But you can do that. That video will connect with people so much more than a text or a message. I mean, messages are great, don't get me wrong, but I think we have to get over that fear of being in front of the camera, of expressing ourselves. And so I'm excited to get to see all these folks, and hopefully help some of these people get out of the mind junk that's maybe holding them back from moving forward, because we all have to start, right? It doesn't we didn't get here overnight. It just takes repetition. You've been doing this now for 10 years. It's amazing what you've done with the Now Marketing Group. And so excited to get to see not only you but all your team. I mean, you've done an amazing job. And it's Lima, not Lima, folks. I struggle with that because my mom is from Lima, Peru, and so I think of the beans. I keep looking for the Lima beans when I get there.
There you go.
I love it.
There you go.
Real quick, Jim, because since we have a few more minutes with you, I would love for you to share about streaming on Amazon, because I thought that was so cool that you have your own Amazon show. So if you would be open to sharing with everyone kind of like what that is and how it works, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So, literally, and, shameless plug for all of us, right? So Ross Brand, right, with his new book, which fortunate to be in.
Ross.
He put a video together last July about, hey, you could go live on Amazon or become an Amazon influencer. So I went and watched his video, and I applied. And at the time, Twitter was one of those approved platforms that they would look at. Got approved to go on Amazon as an influencer. And so me and my friend Chris Stone, and Chris is gonna come as a VIP to enjoy as well and get to meet some of the folks. Was like, hey, we've always wanted to do something together. Let's try this Amazon thing. So we started, episode 1 was just the two of us. And episode 2 was actually, and I think she's going to be on here in a little bit, was Jennifer Watson. So she was our first guest. And we talked about items you would need in case of a storm, right? It was like weathering the storm. So it was just a lot of fun. And so the approach we've taken with Amazon, even though they want you to sell products, is we interview experts in, live streaming, podcasting, social media. And we talk about maybe the products or their books and how they got there. And so we're teaching people, and, it's really turned into something that Chris and I never expected. It's just been it's a lot of fun. We've been able to get some other people to join. She probably hadn't said it yet, but Christine Gritmon just recently got approved, and I had helped coax her along to do that. So excited to see what she does, because she's always talking about brand. And I think there's going to be people on there will want to learn some of those lessons. And as Chris says, right, we do it because it is fun. I mean, you've got all these people, they're already there shopping. So I don't need to worry about Facebook Live shopping. I've got the biggest online mall in America at our beck and call.
And you guys did a great job of this, and I cannot wait to meet you in person, Chris. You are an amazing host, and yeah, I love it and love the graphics and things you did is amazing. But I love that you shared when we were talking on the Amazon show is that, you know, people forget that is small businesses too that are there on Amazon selling. You know, I feel like sometimes people think, like you said, you know, oh, okay, it's just, you know, Amazon's killing the small business, but a lot of small businesses are selling there, you know?
Right. Yeah. In fact, Chris helps someone else that does an Amazon show. They had these guys from Shark Tank that created it. I think it's called the erasable sneakers. And I think we're going to try to get them on the show. So they're a small business and their product is selling on Amazon. And, you know, so it's that whole thing, right? If you can bring someone on, talk about their product, you know, in one aspect or like the aspect we do, it's more of a show for us. You know, we loved having you on and getting to share. We got to share about, you know, the event as well. We did that with Ross. We did his book launch. We had, I think we had about 9 or 10 different folks come on and you know, kind of congratulate Ross. He was, you know, he was great. He didn't expect it either, right? And that's the other thing. We just love the fact that we're able to share and help others, you know, get the word out about what they're doing. You know, we don't make it about me and Chris, and I think that that's one of the reasons why we have so much fun with it.
I love that.
Beautiful, beautiful. No, that's a good information, and again, this is why the conference is so valuable. I mean, you do have a table talk. It's not on Amazon, but at the conference, you're going to be willing to talk about that if someone wants to know more about that, right? Yeah,
absolutely, yes.
Wonderful.
And you can start it now in the group. So definitely make sure you're part of the Social Media Week Lima group. I cannot believe we're already down to the last little bit of this whole hour. And how long have we been going? Hour and a half right now. Already has went so fast. Jim, I cannot wait to see you in person next week, and Chris with you. And you guys are amazing, always shining the light on other people and really truly just connecting people together. I'll never forget like meeting you and your wife. I think we connected online first, and then you guys came over to an event I was hosting at Social Media Marketing World pre-event.
Yes.
And got to meet you both there and just stay connected since then and been friends since. And the real deal, people, like, you need to meet Jim if you've not met him before. Real deal, good humans, definitely, and really always willing to help and connect and really smart with how he shows up with his brand. So cannot wait to see you next week.
Same here. We're looking forward to seeing everybody. 1 week, right? I know that I'll either almost be there or like whatever. I think it's 75. We'll be on 75, looking for the exit.
There you go. Chris will be able to help you out. He said he's drove by it, hasn't pulled in it yet, but he'll be pulling in this time. All right, Jim. Good seeing you. Thanks so much.
Great seeing you. See y'all next week.
Thank you. See you then.
All right.
And our last two lovely beauties in the house.
Hi.
And oh my God. Watson and Brie Anderson. Oh my goodness. So excited to see both of you here today.
Welcome, welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. Oh my gosh. And with Brie. Like, Brie, you are amazing. Just so you know that. Like, you're
I love you so much. I wish I could just take Jennifer with me everywhere. I just need her to always be with me.
For real. She will make you feel good about yourself. Like, and she genuinely means it. And that's like the beautiful thing. She's just like a ray of sunshine everywhere she goes. So it's really cool that she's into weather too, in addition to what she does in her day job. But just both of you guys, like Brie, I'm like fangirl of you and all your stuff on TikTok, all the knowledge bombs and just a wealth of information with SEO. And Jen, all your just bright, sunny, good vibes and brilliance that you put out into this world. Like, I just love all the people that are going to be speaking so much. Like, so excited.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited. Yeah. It's
so
awesome.
I'm going to dive into both of your guys' talks. So first, Brie, I'm going to start with you because George says Brie is an SEO beast. So Brie, what are you going to be talking about in Lima?
I'm actually going to be talking about analytics. So we're going to be talking about social media analytics, kind of what we can learn from it. So obviously, you know, we analyze the numbers that are in analytics, but going even deeper and analyzing like why are they giving us those numbers? What what significance is that really? And then going into a few actionable things, just off of some predictions and, maybe what the future of social media has in store for us.
I freaking love that. I can't even tell you how many clients really want to know and understand the numbers, right? Like data tells a story and it tells you what's working, what's not. And so you're not going at it blind, but you can see, okay, here's what's really happening. And Troy said it best, like it's great doing fun business, but it's even better when it makes you money, when it has results, right? So you can have the best of both worlds, but you have to know how to analyze what's working and kind of keep your finger on the pulse, especially as we're talking about unfiltered dark social, where we're not always going to know where the traffic's coming potentially, right? And how to set up those things, but how to analyze it. So it's so important to break that down and get ahead of the curve, especially as, the rules are changing on Google and everywhere else. So you have to know kind of what's working and how to show up. So,
yeah.
I know it's an area that many people get overwhelmed with as well. So I think that's a barrier, so I think that, any ways that you help kind of bring that down to actionable levels on what's important now. I mean, that's kind of important, right? I mean, that's people get overwhelmed easily.
Yeah, well, and two, I mean, I was actually like, I think the second class ever in my at my college to graduate with a degree in social media marketing. And the number one question that I was asked, because I was doing social media marketing as a teenager for punk bands. And so when I went to college, and I was telling people, like, this is what I'm going to study. The number one question is like, okay, but what's the ROI of social media? Which I always thought was so funny because these are the same people that were spending millions of dollars on TV ads that they had no way of tracking.
Preach.
I mean, it's all a bunch of trend matching, right? Which to an extent, like that's analytics as well, and you can track ROI somewhat. But yeah, so I'm excited to kind of talk to everyone about it. I know it's a question that a lot of people get and they get afraid of, but there are some really easy ways that we can track value with social media, even when it is in the messages and things of that nature.
I love that you just said that though, too, because other marketing doesn't get that. They like get shared this arbitrary number of here's how many people are seeing it. But I don't hear of like, where's the results, right? Because I feel like because they see themselves maybe in print or billboard or television or whatever. And so that's their validation. But if they're not using the social, sometimes that's when it comes up. But I'm like, oh, yeah, like we have actual data, not an arbitrary number that goes to everybody. But I digress with that. So I'm excited for people to hear your talk and see how that works. And Jen, you are up 2 times.
Yeah, twice.
So let's talk about both of your talks and what you're going to be sharing your wealth of information.
Well, I'm so excited. The first one is a panel with 3 amazing other ladies, and we're going to be talking about crisis management and how you can thrive during any crisis, whether it's COVID, whether it's a personal crisis or anything else. I'm going to talk a lot about what I did when I was at Agora Pulse as their senior social media manager, creating their Facebook community that is thriving. We grew it so fast, and it was initially a response to just COVID and a safe place where marketers could ask each other questions. And we realized it was a needed community. People wanted it, even, outside of COVID. And so we just did so many fun things in there. We did weekly lunch and learns to help people. And so I'm going to talk about a lot of the different strategies I use to grow that community. And my second talk I'm going to be talking about is live video. It's something I'm very passionate about. I love live video. I just in growing your community. And there's no other place other than going live where you can literally connect with everyone. I can see people's comments. I love you, Trisha Chambers. Trisha is like so nice. Juan Santiago, oh my gosh, all of you guys, we got George in the audience, Jen Cole, everyone, but you can basically have like an intimate conversation with them and make them a part of your content, and you can learn from it too. And it gives you a boost in the algorithm. There's so many great things about live video, but it can be really intimidating, and a lot of small, medium businesses, they think they don't have the bandwidth or they're a little too nervous to do it, but I'm going to break it down to make it so easy that anybody can do it. They're going to have a plan, And they're going to be confident on camera. They're going to know that, you know, no matter what they do, people are going to love it, because even if you only inspire one person, you're inspiring somebody, but it's so much fun. And I'm going to help people take the stress out of live video and going live and sharing their knowledge and information and just having a positive impact on the community. So much fun stuff. And I'm so excited.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're looking forward to the sunshine coming in. And as what is it? Chad just said. What did he say here? So important to bring your timers in front of the green screen. Yeah.
You know, I have a green screen over here, like a huge pop-up. I'm not going to be bringing it. And so those of you who don't know, I also have 2 shows on the Weather Channel too. So I've got a lot of different live video experience. But Chad, we can make a green screen, or we can do something fun and do the weather. So I love that. And a great question by Trisha. Which platform is your favorite for live video and connecting with your audience? It kind of depends on the business, you know, where your audience is. I like to live stream on all platforms, but some live streamers will go live on all platforms and then cut it off and basically bring everyone into like Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is. So it just depends on your audience. And that's a great question. One of the things I recommend before setting up a live show, and always I recommend being consistent too, having a consistent live show and schedule so people get used to that, because us as humans, we love routine. And, you know, if we know that something's going to happen and look forward to it, we can expect that every week at like Thursday at 2:00. But before you actually set up that time, you want to test. Oh, I miss you too, Trisha. You know, it's important to test different platforms, different times, and just see where you're getting the most engagement. Testing is so important, which Brie can attest to when it comes to data and analytics, A/B testing. Oh my gosh, it can be addictive. It really can. And I've only done a little bit of that. So fun thing though, Brie, I almost double majored in math. I love math, by the way, and analytics. So we need to talk about things. But yeah, so you want to test first what platform works best for you. And something that I'm doing at the current company I'm at Active Campaign is I'm doing separate Instagram lives and trying to get a really big boost in that as well, because, you know, Instagram is rewarding if you use all the different features on the platform. So we've got a very cool strategy there. I had an amazing strategy at Agora Pulse. So lots of geeky fun stuff to like break down and talk about, and other brands and people are doing amazing things in live video as well, just like you, Jessika and Mike.
No, I love what you guys did at Agora Pulse too. Huge fangirl of course, of Agora Pulse, and they're also really great supporters of the event. And I think it's important, your first talk on just crisis management. Like, granted, this was something that was definitely kind of once in our lifetime, hopefully ever, you know, pandemic that we all went through. But Agora Pulse like was already on it and stepped up and was already doing a live show. Like, here's how we can help each other, creating this community. And I loved the way how quickly you pivoted and were showing up ready to support. So I think there can be a lot learned from that. Yeah. Not just the 2020 situation. Like, there's other areas in our business that are crisis. Maybe it's, you know, you have an adoption, a new baby, a divorce, life things that happen. Maybe a partner leaves the business. Maybe you get bought out, whatever. There's crisis situations that can happen that you have to still be able to lead and show up. Like we said, it's all about trust, as we've shared here. It's all about being unfiltered and sharing some of your story, but not sharing like all the drama, right? Like, you don't want to just complain on there either, but you have to be able to show up and share stories and communicate and let people in a little bit and give them a sense of who you are, but also lead during it. During it. So I think that's going to be a very powerful talk with a great panel of people that are on it that all have amazing stories to share. Like, I can't wait for Sarah Kelsey there with Rhinestone Lip Gloss. She had a huge experience in her business during 2020 already, that the brand that she was carrying for her jewels, for her earrings, they stopped selling to her and said that they were no longer going to supply her the gems to make her earrings, that they were only going to be supplying to Tiffany's now. And that's it. They just cut her off. So what do you do when the thing that you make, and this is your whole brand, and you've been advocates for them and saying how great their crystals are and everything, then just ups and says, nope, we're going to go with somebody that we consider better, right? After all these years. How do you keep your business alive? She was able to do that. She was able to do it with grace and leadership. And I just think her story is powerful. And granted, we're going to have 30 minutes with everybody. We're not going to get all the nitty gritty, but you're going to get an insight into how these people lead and how you can apply the same principles too. And a lot of it, and what Sarah did and what's going to be so powerful about your next talk, Jen, is sharing it in video, right? Letting people in, like, they can hear your tone, they can see you, they can experience some of this with you, the heartache, the cheering you on, like, no, you got this, you're going to find another vendor, right? Like during this whole process that I was with Sarah, advocating for her and wanting her to succeed and sharing it out because she took me along for the ride with her in video.
Yeah, you people want access to you, right? And so showing your face is one of the best ways, like where people just feel like a part of your story. And when you let people in like a positive way, even if you're going through a struggle, but you walk them through it, I mean, it makes you so much more relatable as a person, as a brand. And so everyone's looking for that relatability. Everyone's looking for that trust. And so that's one of the best ways to do it. And one of my biggest tips is if you're nervous about seeing yourself on camera or being on camera, for 30 days or even 60 days or a year, make yourself do an Instagram story, a Facebook story, whatever story it is, one a day. And it's not live, but you're going to get used to, pulling out the camera and just being awesome. And then when you actually go live on camera, you're just going to be like, wow, this isn't as terrifying as it seems to be, and it's just, and we're all human too. That's the thing. Like, I've done so many live videos, whether it was at the Weather Channel or just, at Agorapulse or the company I'm working at now. And there's technology issues, there's always going to be something sometimes. And you just got to, deal with the punches and just keep going. That's what everyone else does. And, it's one of those things that you never know what somebody's going through behind the scenes. And there's a great book by Hoda Kotb that's Everybody Has Something. And that's what her mom used to tell her. And I love that book because it's just talking about being kind, it just no matter what. And even I've learned if someone's not very nice to you, maybe there's something deeper rooted that's going on and it's not meant to be directed towards you. And, by talking to that person, giving them a second chance, you can maybe, help them out. So
that's so true.
Yeah.
I have one story I want to share with that too. And I would love your guys' tips. Jen, your tip for, anybody going to the event, and Brie, I'll ask you to share maybe something that you're looking forward to, another talk. But going back to what you just said, Jen, about giving some people grace because you don't know what they're going through. So I'll share just a quick story about Social Media Week Lima. Our lunch vendor, day two lunch vendor, then we have to get sponsorships for this because of the arrangement with the event center that we are in. We had it all planned out. And 2 days ago, I got a text message from the vendor. So this is a week out, a little over a week, that they're like, hey, sorry, we can't do the sponsorship. We can't do your lunch anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I find someone to provide lunch for all these people in this short of notice? And this is a person that was a client for over 10 years. And someone that like I'd helped out and everything. And it was in a text message, like super short, just that was it. And my first reaction was, why? Like, what did I do? What did I do? And so I was like, oh, okay. Can I ask why? And he was like, and I said, can I pay, help maybe come up with funds or whatever to pay for some of the things. I thought maybe it was that. He's like, I just would rather you find somebody else. And that was it. And so I'm freaking out, right? Granted, thankfully, like calmed myself and had another person that offered help, thankfully. And so we're good there. But in that situation, then I paused and I was like, I wonder if there's something going on with him. And I reached, actually I messaged him back and I said, thanks, no worries. Just want to let you know we found someone, blah, blah, blah. But just wanted to know if anything happened. And what had happened was he just had 3 people walk out and leave and quit. And he didn't have the team members to cover it. And so he's stressed. And that in his mindset, he's just trying to tell me. And the tone that I was reading it was in my mindset, right? So it's like perception is projection. And we don't always know what somebody else is going through. And if I would have painted the picture like, what a jerk, dropped out, ahead of time and all that. And luckily, thankfully, he took some time out and called me yesterday and we had a long conversation. And it was great and still maintain that relationship. And just sometimes in text or how we're communicating. That's the other thing, powerful thing about live video too, is people can hear your tone. They can sense what you're going through. But since this is just shared in a text, I didn't know.
Yeah,
my mind was painting the missing pieces, right? By where I was sitting at versus where he was sitting at. So great lesson to learn to always just pause and try to have grace with the other person. Imagine why they could have been responding that way.
I love that story, Jessika. I love that so much because it's so easy to be like, what a jerk or whatever. But then like, I understand in the moment, because I do that too. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, that's not like them. And there just may be something going on. And by showing a little grace and understanding, like, I mean, people can open up and you realize, oh, that's not like the true story.
You feel bad for them. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry. What can I do for you? Right? Like,
and that was just a great story. That was just a great story, and that we just had the story catcher on here telling us that we need to pull stories out. You just gave us one, and you just shared wonderful lessons to everyone that's watching, will be watching, right?
Exactly.
Thanks, Mike. All right, Jen, what can you share for anyone, tip for anybody coming to the event or wanting to come to the event this year?
Oh my gosh. So I sometimes get the name a networking queen. You're amazing at this too, Jessika. I feel like we're both like incredible. So what I would do is take a look at the event page, look at all the speakers, and obviously we're going to be going to all the sessions, but figure out which ones you really want to talk to and spend some extra time with, be involved with all the groups, and just connect with people ahead of time. When you connect with people ahead of time, that's where you can make the most out of the event. Have those side conversations, potentially collaborations, become best friends with people. Like, it's so important that pre-prep before you go to any kind of event, whether it's Lima or anywhere else. So definitely do that. Do your research, and get ready to take notes because you learn so much. Oh my gosh, get some sleep, stay hydrated.
I got the hydration packets actually to help us all this year.
Oh my God, I love that. That's amazing.
Rehydrate.
You guys, Jessika and her team will take care of you, first of all. It's one of the most, like, I don't think I've ever been to an event that you feel like you're in someone's home. Even though it's like a massive event, you feel like you're in someone's home and you're taken care of. And if something were to happen to you personally, or you just needed something, one of their team members will be there in an instant to help you right away. So like, I've never been to an event like that. So just get ready to learn and just do that pre-prep and just figure out who you want to talk to and just network with and just do it. And if anyone's nervous out there, I'll network with you. Come find me and we'll network together. You can be my buddy and we'll just go around and have a blast. So I'm here for you.
Yes, Brian, we stop hangovers. We're trying. We have Motrin on one side and the liquid IV stuff on the other side. Trisha says, do any of you still use business cards at events? I do-ish, but not as often.
I like Christine's. She said selfies, selfies and tag. That was nice.
Do you know who the selfies and tag queen is? It's Jessika. When I met Jessika at Social Fresh, yes, she's
the one. I started doing.
Yes, no, and she would make sure she took a picture with every single person. I watched this, and I thought I was the queen of networking, and I was like, someone else just surpassed me here. Jessika did. We met at Social Fresh 2016, and she was already doing that. So like, she's brilliant. Jessika, follow Jessika or follow me. Or Brie or Mike or whoever. Like, if you're there by yourself, I've gone to conferences and events by myself, just get involved in a group. And I understand what it's like to feel like a little insecure and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm here by myself. Come find one of us. We're all friendly and we're here and we want to support you. And like, that's what's so great about Jessika's event. Everyone is here to help each other. So it's an amazing community.
You are the best too. And Brie, what are you looking forward to coming to the event? Any other sessions or anything you're looking forward to?
I'm just excited to see people. I have a bunch of really good friends speaking at the conference. So that's, like Jennifer was saying, I've actually never been, so I'm super excited. This will be my first year. But all of the people that are speaking are such like it's just like we're one big family. I kind of just want to hug everyone, you know what I mean? So I'm really excited about that. And just because you asked Jennifer for a tip, I was hoping you were going to ask me that one. You didn't. That's fine. I'm still going to give my 2 cents. My big tip is putting aside time for reflection. So even if it's like during breaks or it's, you know, when you get back to your room, take a second and jot down 3 actionable things. So I used to go to conferences all the time when I was at an agency, and I would go at the end of the day and go, okay, for this client, we can do this. For this client, we can do this. And for this client, we can do this. And those were my 3 things. And then I was fine the rest of the day, whatever I did. Because what I found is you get like this overflow of information. You have all of these notes, but then the actionable, like going and actually doing it, can sometimes be put on the back burner because you're like, oh, yeah, maybe, or that could be good for someone. But if you write it down and make it concrete at the end of the day, at the end of the session, then it's much more likely to happen. So
can I follow up on that, Brie? Brie, I'm tag teaming you.
I guess.
So along with the reflection, block off like an hour a day on your calendar the following week when you get back to look back over your notes and start taking steps with the things that you've learned from the conference. Because it's so easy to be like, I was just at a conference for like 3 days and now like I got to catch up on work. You get overwhelmed, normal, like, you know, life stuff. And then you don't even put anything into motion. So don't only reflect, actually block off your calendar the following week too. Do it now, right now.
Do it now.
You guys are so good. You can always sneak in knowledge bombs in there because it's so good. Like all the things, like keep it going. Like definitely, I can't believe we've already had our Partayyyyy already for close to 2 hours now, and I'm loving it. There's still knowledge and energy, and my face hurts like crazy already for smiling like so hardcore for 2 hours, and I love it. And I can't wait to see people in real life again. All the people in the comments too that have been dropping in here. And Jim says, great tips. I'm going to bring my rocket book, and we definitely will have not a rocket book, but notebooks. So you can take some notes in and definitely keep up on all of the things there. Brian says, Brie plus Jenny, watch out, world. That's so true. These ladies are powerhouses. Application so key. Haha. Yeah. I love it. Jen, I can hear your laugh when I read that. Haha. I can hear your beautiful laugh. I love it. But I love you, ladies. I am so excited to see you next week. I hope you guys just rest up. Definitely, Brie. It's definitely a marathon when you're there. I think you can hang with the best. I cannot wait to meet you in real life. I've not had the honor yet, but I'm definitely a fangirl of yours. And Jen, I can't wait to hug you again and see your beautiful smiling face in person. And Mike, you as well. And everyone that was on the show, like you guys are amazing. And now I'm even more excited for next week. So thank all of you for being here. Thank all of you for watching with us and all those that are catching the replay. Definitely, if you've not already, go to sociallima.com, get your ticket. Seriously, like this is why these are just a fraction of the people that are going to be there. We're going to have 28 dynamic speaker sessions that everyone gets to experience and get to connect with everyone in an intimate environment. What more can you want? I'm telling you, it's going to be an amazing time. So thank all of you. Cannot wait to see you next week. Until then, go to sociallima.com and hopefully we'll see you in person next week, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
Do it. Bye, guys.